G'day folks, it's Kim here from Kim's Homestead here in Victoria, Australia. Well, I'm back in the kitchen and I thought I'd show you a few things that I'm doing. I'm preserving scraps to be able to make things out of them later on. And some of the things I may just make up. So, what am I doing first? Well, I freeze a lot of my bread scraps and it's time to actually do something with them and clear out my freezers a little bit so that I can get more stuff in there. Anyway, so what I'm doing at the moment is just chopping up all the heels of bread, the spare buns that I've had and just popped in the freezer for later use. Well, they've been in there for a while, and if I take them out and use them now, they're going to be like hard edges and old and crusty, and it's time to use them up. But as I can only eat so many hamburgers and whatnot, I thought I would just turn them into large croutons for the moment. Later on I can either turn them into breadcrumbs to be used in baking or in something else. I will most likely bring you along for when I make up some of these recipes, and I may actually make one tonight so that you can see what I do with them. Anyway, so I'll show you what I'm doing. So as you can see here, I've already got a couple of buns out and chopped up, and I'm just going to fill up this tray. Now I've got my oven preheating on a pretty high setting. I could use my dehydrator for this, but it's way down in the kitchen shed and I really don't want to take up a whole dehydrator full just for these few pieces. I think a couple of trays in the oven should do it nicely. This is something that you can do too if you don't have a dehydrator. So I thought I'd show you how it's done. So as you can see, I'm just cutting them into large squares. Hang on, I'll put this on hold. There we go, that's on pause so you can hear what I'm doing. I always have the dishwasher going when I want to talk to you guys. There we go, just throw it in there any old way, should be right. And these are what I mean by the heels of the bread, which is just the crust at either end of the bread. I think this one's done enough. We don't want to pile it up too much. Just level it out a bit. I'll probably be turning these about halfway through being done to make sure both sides get done. I'll just put this over here and we'll start a new tray. Now I could keep those bags and reuse them, but I've got so many bags at the moment, I really don't need any more. Now I don't know what the cost of bread is where you are, but where we are, just a normal loaf of bread is nearly $4 a loaf. That is ridiculous. So, yes, I could go out and just buy a bag of breadcrumbs for like $2 or $3, and that's a big bag. But I've already got the bread. It doesn't take much effort to preserve it. And then you've got it on hand whenever you want it. You can add whatever spices and seasonings you like to it if you want to use it as a seasoned stuffing, or just leave it plain like this. You can use it for putting into meatloaf, or for bulking up like sausage rolls and things like that, or do what I'm doing and going to be using it in more or less desserts, and it's not costing you any more. And it's really nice knowing that you've got a full pantry. You can just pull something out of it and whip it up at any given time, no matter how many people that you've got here to feed. It's really good. Probably should use another tray. Right, there's the second tray all full, and now I'm just going to turn off my oven. I'll let out the bulk of the hot air because I had it on flat out. Right, let's let out some of the hot air. Okay, all I do now is just leave it in the hot oven and come back in a few hours time. I'll give it a bit of a stir up, pull the trays out, put it back on again, heat the oven up, turn it off, put them back in. Yep, it's done. And yeah, I'll be back later. Bloody alarms. Now the rest of the scraps that I have, as you can see, these are the pea shells we did earlier in the year. This bag is full of celery stalks and celery tops. This bag is full of general scraps, and this bag here is full of carrot peelings and chicken carcasses. So what I'm going to be doing out of this is making a vegetable stock, which I will be using in my cooking. So first of all, I have to find a really large pot. So here is my really large pot. It's all stainless steel, and it's a very, very heavy base. So very heavy for me, so I've got it on my walker there so I can wheel it over and get some water put into it. But what I will do is start filling it up with these veggies. See, everything goes in the hot tub. Now we start filling it up with water. Right, I've put a bit of water in. That's what I can lift at the moment, so I'll fill it up once it's on the stove. But I've also taken the opportunity of adding some herbs. Now I've put in bay leaves, thyme, parsley, rosemary, sage, and that's about it at the moment. I will also add salt and pepper when I've got it up on the stove. And then I'll be adding the rest of the water and filling the pot to 3/4 full. Well, there's the pot all filled. I may add some more water later on, but at the moment I'm going to put in 1 large of sea salt and some black pepper. That's ground black pepper, and that would be about a teaspoonful. Right, I'll just put the lid on that, and I'm going to let that bubble away for about 4 or 5 hours. Okay, so I have now finished the vegetable broth. I've strained out all the vegetables and put it in a chook bucket, and now it's time to strain the finer fluids. Make sure I don't get any rubbish in the jars. See, that's a beautiful colour. Ooh. And there we have a beautiful clear liquid. And in the sink I have jars that have been washed and rinsed. Here's our clean jar. Here's our jug. And fill it 1 inch from the top, and you know it's 1 inch from the top by the ring around the jar. Then you don't have to debubble because it's liquid, and always, always, always wipe the top of the jar. Put on a lid and screw the band down finger tight. That is, you can't tighten it with your fingers, don't crank it. And into the hot tub. We'll get another clean jar and same again. This one is a wide mouth jar. The other one was a regular jar. That's the only difference. Why am I doing 2 different jars? Because that's what I have. Always, always. And we want a wide mouth lid, not a regular lid. And on with the band. Finger tight and ready for the hot tub. This one will go in the fridge. Well, as you can see from just a few vegetable scraps, a few bread scraps, what I now have is 10 jars of a very rich vegetable broth. Now your broths are probably one of your most important ingredients in your pantry. It adds so much flavour and nutrition to your meals, and you're just getting so much more bang for your buck basically. You can flavour rice, you can flavour mashed potatoes, you can make a quick soup or stew or base for pretty much any meal out of a good stock. Now the stock comes from, as you saw, the scrap vegetables. Normally stuff you would either throw in the bin or in the compost heap or out to the chooks or other animals or whatever. And there's a lot of goodness in those vegetable scraps. So all you have to do is add water, put it to heat, let it boil for probably 4 or 5 hours, or if you have a pressure cooker, then put it in your pressure cooker and put it on for about an hour and a half in your pressure cooker, and you've got the basis for your stock. Whatever's left over, sometimes you can actually cook it again, such as bone broth. You can cook that 3, 4, 5 times and you can get a good stock out of your bone broth. Obviously the more you cook it, the weaker the solution will be, but you're still going to get quite a usable product by reboiling it a few times. With your vegetable stock, normally I only do it the once and then I feed the rest to the chooks, so that they're getting some goodness out of it as well. But if you want, you can actually reboil it again and make another batch of vegetable stock. Or you can add some beef or chicken or lamb or whatever meat that you want to the vegetable broth and make a really flavourful meat and vegetable broth. It's up to you what you want to do. Now I had 2 canners full, and because the second load wasn't quite full enough, I don't like to run a canner unless I've got probably a full canner in there. So I just went through my freezer and pulled out a few bits and pieces that I had in there. So I freed up some more space in my freezer, and I now have some more vegetables in jars that I can just put on the shelf, put it away for when I need it. When I want a dump and go meal, it's all done. And as I said, I've freed up a lot of space in my freezers. so that I can get more stuff in there. Also, with your bread, now I've got 2 large containers of the scrap pieces of bread, and these can be made into either breadcrumbs, seasoned stuffing. It's really good in hamburgers, to bulk up your hamburgers, or even meatloaf. It goes well in meatloaf. I like to make bread and butter puddings out of it, similar to a cobbler, only I use bread instead of cake mix. And it comes up really nice. Once again, you're not wasting the heels of your bread, and let's face it, at $4 plus a loaf, it's too expensive to waste any of it. So, and just a few things like this, you can bulk up your pantry and make the food that you've purchased go a lot further to feed your family. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. And if you like the content that I bring you, think about subscribing, and I will catch you on another video. Bye, guys.